Katak from the CCRU Writings. Mesh 14. Net span 5 and 4. The call and its numbers. The lemur of the 5-4 rift is called Kutsker in the Ma tongue. Her name in modern Moonamese is Katak, which Stillwell translates into English as the Desolator. In the name Katak, Horowitz finds the phonetic molecule kut, which he associates with the ideas of falling or sinking. This connection leads him to postulate an archaic pneumogrammatic source for the Greek prefix of descent, kata, as in catastrophe, cataclysm, catatonic, catabolism, catadromic. In a marginal comment on geotraumatics, D.C. Barker relates the name Katak both to the KT missile, which terminated the age of giant saurians, and also to Krakatoa, which decimated the Dib Ma. The Zigvik identify her with Kotku, or Madness of the Great Worm. In the book of children's fables compiled from Ma sources by Kidney Stillwell's sister Medusa, she is called Taka. Katak's net span, 5 and 4, bridges the smallest interval and places her in the center of the Barker spiral. She is described variously as tightly bound, coiled or knotted, wound up, or compacted. The Cthulhu Club write of a Katak effect, when the smallest difference, 5 and 4, has the greatest impact. Positioned on the 5th brink, as ultimate lemur of the 5th phase, Katak is the only synergetic lemur to be poised at the edge of her domain, linking her to imbalance, thresholds, and phase changes. Katak's net span, 5 and 4, ciphers the ultimate gate, or gate of pandemonium, GT45, which begins and ends in Zone 9, and echoes the completed matrix of the lemurs. This suggests an all-encompassing reach to the powers of Katak, which, in combination with Katak's global right, comprises what the Zikvik call the fatal seeker of the Kotku. Katak's mesh number 14 ciphers the 7th lemur, Sukagul, 4 and 1, who haunts the gate of submergence, GT10. This further consolidates Katak's connections with collapse and inundation. The resonance between the Katakite sink current and the sunken track attests in certain respects to monotheistic, monopolistic, or totalitarian ambition and reduction to unity, but also to a return to simplicity, search for origins, or slippage into indifferentiation. Katak's Sarkon tag is 0047. Quantities and traits. As a synergetic lemur, Katak has no pitch. She is thus characterized by perfect poise. Despite her manifold associations with extreme excitability, crisis, furor, and the tempestuous, along with her 4 synergetic sisters, Katak occupies a pneumogrammatic plane, or great plateau, of continuous cosmic intensities. Katak hosts 10 imps, which aligns her with decimal numeracy, while also further reinforcing her decimally mediated relation to unity. Katak feeds a sink current, flowing from the falling drift to Zone 1. In Visparov's Pandemonium Matrix, Katak is entitled the Synergetic Chronodemon of Cataclysmic Convergence. Rites of Katak. The way of Katak has 2 paths, or routes. These follow her synergetic crossing, 5 and 4, and her singular minor rite, 418725. In the Book of Paths, Katak's synergetic rite is described as follows: 30. Coiled fervor. Endless waiting in the falling drift. The path favors patient activity. Superior subtlety leads nowhere. Poise entanglement. Twin tests make the way. Between burning excitement and error tension. Katak is alone among the synergetic lemurs in having a non-synergetic rite. The uniqueness of this rite is compounded by the fact it encircles the entire hex, or time circuit, traversing the complete sequence of past and future lives and seizing the whole of time and fate. On the basis of this rite, Katak is portrayed chasing her own tail, and its Ophidian manifestation as the barkering snake coiled back into itself as an Ouroboros, the thought Tedlana of the Zikvik. In the Book of Paths, Katak's global rite is described as follows: 31. Eternal revolution. Advance prolonged by waiting brings fractured completion. The path first favors subtlety, then repeated patience and activity. Superior subtlety opens the first hidden road. Resistance prevails. 5 tests on the way. Breakthrough into immersive nightmares spawns promising developments. Fluid evolution leaves a dubious inheritance. The lair of Katak. In the Lemurian planet orcs, Katak's domain, 5 and 4, is situated between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter, classically identified with war and sovereignty. Astronomically, this band coincides with the asteroid belt, considered by some to be the pulverized remnants of a destroyed planet. The Katak card. In the full Decadence pack, Katak, as a syzygy, is only included as one of the 5 eliminated jokers. On the Atlantean cross, she corresponds to the 3rd pylon, named Apocalypse, decamantically associated with destructive influences. Tales. Sikvik, traditional. When the world was born, Thoth Todlana entered into the secret of the Katku, and, confusing herself with the universe, circled the whole of time. That was when she swam through living flesh, her hunger unlimited and furious. She seemed doomed to devour herself forever. The dead knew no rest, and the earth shuddered. It was then that Ukvu, the worm witch, arrived amongst us. It was Ukvu that found the pattern in the folds of Thoth Todlana's skin, and followed it back to Jakulaluk. It was Ukvu that called to Thoth Todlana from deep in Jakulaluk, and released her from the Katku. That is why we still carry the marks of Ukvu on our skin. Hawkhammer, on the Ma, contemporary. It had all gone to hell out there. The Sumatran expedition rotting down to disconnected threads of fever, madness, and atrocity. Tak Ma, a tribe of aggressive headhunters aboard to the area, and since eradicated. They had greeted him as Katak, ominous rumblings from out in the Sunda Strait. August 1883. Pounding solar waves mixed with the ceaseless delirious dance beat of the Tak Ma. On threadings into mosquito-fogged heat. Shimmerings. As Curtis records the disintegration of his soul, the name Katak increasingly cross-links with everything that burns, raves, and devastates. Everything that ends in blackened threads. Everything. The Tak Ma seem to revere rabid dogs. They call them Katak. There is an internally dislocated hydrophobic bark that is peculiarly Katak. Blood-stained claws are also Katak. At midday, when the sun is silent rage, it is Katak. Katak is a trampling, inarticulate flood tide of malaria. Out in the strait, Katak growls and smokes. Katak has come. Katak is soon to come. Katak comes. Katak comes. Incessant drumming of Katak coming. Drumming, pounding.